guys, I'm Sam.
I'm Jody.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Lady.
I'm Nathan.
And as you can see, welcome back to our Razor Focus channel. You can see the whole family's with us today. We're excited today. We're going to be working on Nate and Lainey's machine today, installing a power steering unit. As many of you have mentioned, this one does not have power steering, but a lot of your recommendations was the Super ATV. And we're going to try to get that going today, so let's get on it. Woo!
Woohoo! The girls are going shopping.
Okay, guys, Nathan is crawling in the wheel well here. I want to see if we can show you. There's the power steering. Hold that light for a second, Nathan.
Yep.
I'm going to go to wide angle here. There we go. Let me see if I can get down here with you. And you can see that's where the motor's at, or the gearing. I can't necessarily see what that.
Yeah, so the power steering unit right here, it might sit a little different than you're expecting, right? So you have a shaft that's right here, and you have a shaft on the top end that is kind of covered by the cover, okay? So that's why on the power steering unit that you just saw, it does have the two shafts on either end, right? Because you got an upper and a lower, okay? And then the motor itself actually sits right here, okay? That's what this box is right there, okay? So obviously, like, you have the unit with the gearing and stuff, and the actual power unit, that's what this is, okay? So you got a good view of that?
Yep, absolutely.
All right,
So what's the size of the actual motor?
yeah, so real quick, just to do a comparison so you guys can kind of see.
You're good.
Can you get a reading on that?
Yeah, you're only like 4, maybe 4.5 there.
And is that a good, is it straight and everything? Okay,
yeah.
cool. So that one's about 4.5 inches long. Let's see if we can get a good width real quick. Obviously, this is just a kind of down and dirty, right? We're not going to uninstall it just for this, but we want to take a look. What are we looking at?
Can't really see on that one.
Take a look real quick. There we go. What's that looking like? It looks like it's like 2.5, 3 inches.
Yeah, maybe 2.5, 2 3/4.
Okay.
Okay, that gives us an idea.
Yeah, so you got 2.5 wide, about 3 inches long, right? That's what we said?
Yep.
Okay.
And you can kind of see here as where it's at again. There's the speaker, there's the cover. We're kind of upside down somewhat, going down from the steering column. So that's on the Ultimate. If you have a Premium or Ultimate, that's where the power steering is going to be.
Yeah, and then for any of the trails, the power steering is going to be the same, okay? So just because it's the Ultimate, just because it's the 1000 versus the 900, the power steering unit is the same power steering unit.
The body's still the same.
Right. The only ones I can't quote is going to be on like your Turbo S's and stuff like that. I don't have any information on if they're the same or not, but that's a possibility.
We're only talking about trail stuff here.
All right, guys. So real quick before we get started, you just saw the measurements inside. Again, it's just a rough measurement. We're obviously going to be able to get better measurements off of this, but I think now that you're kind of seeing how it's going to look at the end, and then now seeing it in the middle, might kind of give you a feeling for what it's going to look like, all right? So in terms of length, this one is at about 4 1/4, a little over, right about there for the length.
Size there.
Well, no, because the other one was 3 inches. So I mean, this one's already an inch and 1/4 longer.
Okay.
And then this one right here is we're about like 2 3/4 to 3 inches on the width. All right. And again, the way that it's going to be mounted, if the front of the machine is this way, it's going to be mounted up like this. Okay. Or it might even be, yeah, it's like this. So it'll be mounted up like this, and then all our steering wheel and stuff is going to be up here, right? So it'll be nice and low down there. Okay. But that's kind of what it'll be looking like. It's not like this or something like that, because obviously, like, thinking of like a differential or something might give you that vibe. All right, that's just something to be aware of. You'll see as we install.
All right, well, let's begin the process of taking it apart.
All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and just start it. Obviously, some of the steps may be a little different based on what you got going on with your machine. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my high lift jack real quick, just so it's out of the way. I don't think it really would be in the way, but again, it's just a matter of not having to deal with it if I can not have to. There we go.
And that's mounted on the front bumper. Same bumper as mine. You can see there back there. They're identical bumpers.
Yep.
You have a high lift jack mounts there on it. Tube mounts.
Mm-hmm. Next, we're going to go ahead and move up the hood. All right, we're just going to set this aside. Then the next thing we're going to have to remove is going to be the dash and then the gauge pod cluster. However, in order to do that, I'm going to have to be able to remove my windshield. Now, because of the way my pod lights are mounted and because my windshield sits underneath of my roof, I'm going to have to loosen up these 2 bolts that are on my roof. And then from there, I can loosen this, and it's actually going to have to go out kind of at a weird angle just because of how tight I have everything sitting in here, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and get the tools for that real quick. All right, so now that I've got the tools that I'm gonna need to be able to remove the stuff that I installed, I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen this up so that we can get moving on the actual rest of it. Alrighty.
Now, as Nathan removes his, this is something that Jody and I are probably going to get. If you look through, I love this thing. He has a kind of a tinted roof.
Yes, they do make an actual clear. This is the tinted, and it's tinted enough to not get some sunburn and feel like an ant under a magnifying glass inside it, but not tinted to the point you can't see. So that is really nice and helpful.
And this is one of the Super ATV ones, right?
Yes, this is a Super ATV one. And I want to say that this was about $250. Again, that's off of memory, so don't quote me.
And you can see how tight it is to the tube. I like that. We gain on ours, we gain like 2.5 inches of height.
And it has this foam in here that keeps it from like rattling around. There is zero play in this thing. It's really nice. Again, mounts right up to factory too. That's another thing that I really liked about it. There's no drilling or anything like that you got to do. Go ahead and toss those in a cup holder. All right, so now that's off. Now I got to go ahead and get our windshield out of the way. All right, so just go ahead and give it a nice little push from the back.
And that's also, again, the Super ATV windshield.
Yep, very thick, got some good weight.
No kidding. We're like a Super ATV commercial. Now, again, guys, we are not endorsed by anybody. We're just a family.
Just endorsed out of my own pocketbook. That's all it is.
We work hard for our stuff just like you do, and there's nobody giving us anything. So if it doesn't work, we're going to tell you it doesn't work.
All right, so moving over. We're going to go ahead and start removing all of these screws right here, these Torx bits, torque screws, so that then we can take off our dash panel, as well as if you don't have the infotainment center, you're going to have to remove this.
You mean the ride command?
Yeah, ride command. If you don't have that, you're going to go ahead and have to remove this, and then once that's done, we're going to have to remove our gauge cluster, okay? So getting into it. Oh, and this is a T40. That's the size for these, okay?
And you can use a ratchet to take them off. But as we've learned, do not use a ratchet to put them on. They do sell those metal clips at AutoZone. We've had to purchase those before. And on the side of that table, then, Nathan, there's some magnetic trays.
Okay, I'll grab one of those here in a second. So we have 4 of these. There's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th is over here on the passenger side, all right? All right, boom, we got all those. Now we're gonna go ahead and move into just popping these little plastic, what are they called?
Just the quick clips, as I call them.
Just little plastic quick clips.
Quick clips.
What I call them is begging to be broken clips. That's what they are, because every time I do those, they break. So I normally have a couple of those laying around.
Yes, and if you, just so you know, you've seen me use this tool many times, a snap-on removal tool. You don't pay for it in clips. So, again, it is well worth getting you something like this. Now, there's other brands. They don't have to be snap-on brand, but...
All right, let's see if we can do this without breaking it.
Good job.
It's probably one of the first times I've ever done that. I just want that to be clear.
And then take that center cover off.
Okay. Now we can just pull that whole thing right out. Okay, just makes it easy now you can get it out of the way.
And we've learned it's easier if you go start from here and push out. It's the clip over there that you're catching on.
I already got it. Now it's this one. So literally all I had to do is just loosen all that up. There's 2 clips, basically friction clips, okay? They're not directional. You don't have to worry about breaking them. As long as you're not yanking it around, you'll be just fine. You'll just lift them right up, and then from there, slides right out, okay? So we'll just put this over here.
A little tight in the shop today, but we got both machines in here.
And then now, the next thing we're going to be doing is removing our gauge pod. Before you do that...
Now, hang on, Nathan. Do we have to remove the gauge pod?
Well, I guess the main reason I was doing that is because if you come over here and we look in our instructions, these are very, very clear. And what's nice is it's the actual machine I'm working on. So that is really helpful for me. It's been kind of hard to find stuff like that. So I just was kind of going by the numbers. The next thing I was saying was to remove the gauge pod, disconnect, and we're going to have to be taking off the steering wheel. Let's see why.
Well, you do have to take the steering wheel off because we're going to change some shafts out.
So it doesn't really look like there's anything that you would have to.
Well, it's to move the shaft, Nathan, because that shaft is secured in with pressure from the steering wheel tied into other things.
Right, but I mean, you wouldn't, because we're gonna be taking this off, and then it's probably because of this mount right here, because that is something we're gonna have to be doing. Yes. Is we're removing this hardware right here.
Yeah, that ECU will go right in here.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and just follow the instructions. Let's do the right thing and let's follow the instructions.
Okay.
I'm sure they figured out a reason why.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You started asking me why questions, and I just follow what it says. The reason why is because I don't want to break it. So let's see. I've never actually removed this one.
All right. So now he's trying to get the gauge pod.
There we go. All right, so just with that, I'll show you right here. There's this clip. Okay, so just make sure that you're pressing it on the bottom. It does take a little bit of force, so just depress and then pull out, all right? We'll just set that there.
And there's 3 screws there.
Where we got, I'm not able to see.
Little triangle
okay, so we got some Torx. Those probably look like a, I don't know, like a 25-ish or so. We'll go over here and we'll grab us some tools. All right, so now I got our torque bit that we needed. So this is a T30, okay? So T30 is going to be what's removing these. So we'll just go ahead and hand crank these here. Hopefully.
There's 3 of them there?
Yeah, we got 3. So we got bottom left, top middle, and bottom right. We'll get some speedy magic with the videoing here, though. You don't have to watch me wrench every single one of these.
Okay, moving on to the snap-on ratchet there.
Yeah, so obviously the no amount of video speeding up was actually going to be any sort of productiveness for me. So,
and again, taking them off, no issue with the ratchet, power ratchet, but putting them on, that's where you got to be very careful.
Yeah, those are a good amount of thread. They're in there pretty tight, so those are definitely annoying. Oh no. There we go. Thank God this thing's made out of plastic, you know, we can kind of bend it around. Here we go. It's all good, just fell right through.
Right in the floor pan. And again, these little magnet trays, Harbor Freight, you know, we'll use several of them, just kind of divide up the parts and keep everything in place.
Now right here, we're moving the gauge pod. I don't know if you noticed, we can't really reach it all that easily. The reason I'm just kind of being a little more precautious, I could probably wiggle this sucker out, but we got these buttons over here. I don't really feel like chopping one off by pulling it through, so I'm just going to pull us out an extra one of these Torxes, so that way I just can have some more wiggle room right here just to give me that.
I'd probably even go one more, Nate.
No, this honestly should be good. Boom, right there.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I just didn't want to mess up these buttons that are right here because they're raised and they sit in here, and I didn't want to rip one off.
Good idea.
All right, so next thing we're going to do is going to go ahead and remove our steering wheel, all right? You should be able to, but if you got to, you can just use like a small flathead screwdriver. Just got to reach up in here, pull this little cover off, get access to our steering wheel bolt, all right? So this is a metric 24. It may be standard, but the 24 fit pretty good, and I like using metric. It's a lot easier to use. So go ahead and loosen this up, see if we need a pry bar. It's going, it's just slow, all right? So we got a nice right there. I'm not even gonna touch that because I'm willing to bet it's hot. Because I was about to.
You need to put that back on there though.
Why?
That's how you're gonna take the shaft off.
Oh, you hit the nut?
No.
I'm not gonna. You said put this on there, right?
Okay, but don't do it with the gun. You get cross thread. Maybe your kids never say, "Hey, well, it worked."
Hey, check that out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use our hammer to dead blow this. All right, so I'm taking a leap of faith on this one, following what Dad's telling me. All right, I'm not gonna lie. Never removed the steering wheel off of Polaris. He said that this is how I gotta do it, so we're gonna do it, and we'll see how it works. All right. So just give it a blow right there.
Yep.
All right, so go ahead and give it a couple hits, and we'll see. Try it again.
Hit it like a man, son.
All right.
We may need a steering wheel puller.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. Okay, son, this is what you have to do. Okay, you have to put some what we call ganas into it. Oh, there you go. It's done.
I just want to let this be known that he sat in there and did that like nothing.
No,
all right?
video proves.
Didn't hit anything. I already did the work, just had the bad angle, all right?
Video
That's what it's
proves
looking
it
like to
all.
me.
Okay, guys, just we were kind of joking each other about that. Yes, you do need to hit that. It kind of vibrates it loose. But if you pull out an angle, so right now the nut is out. If you pull out an angle, it's not going to come out. Even on both sides, even pressure, it comes out with 2 fingers. So very easy. Now we our wheels are kind of straight. We're not going to be super picky about that just yet. We'll line them up again when we do it, but just kind of keep that in mind.
All right, so the next thing after the steering wheel is good to be removed is going to be moving these 2 bolts that are right here, okay? So again, make sure you got a ratchet on one end.
What size are those?
These are a 15. Oh, and they've got some oomph on them, so we might need to go ahead and use the double ratchet.
No, use that.
You can use this one for
Yep.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can ratchet it right there?
Now give it a pull.
Okay.
One thing I do like about the snap-on, it's also once it gets to a lock point, it's a ratchet. Now you can spin it. So release the trigger. So you don't have to have multiple tools to do it all in one.
That's nice. I didn't know, that's why I didn't want to mess it up. Now this one is going to be a little bit of a pain to get to because I've got to reach my arm all the way up under here. Honestly, if you did want to make this easier for yourself, you could take off this entire dash piece, the black one,
Oh,
if you really wanted, because that's kind of where my hand's at right now, is it's up under there, and I just can't reach all that easily.
well, reach that and hand me the ratchet.
Well, hold on, I can, it's just a matter of getting it lined up on the head right now is what I'm running into. All right, so now we're going to have to ratchet this again. Let's get the old pull.
Yeah, now you just release the trigger and go.
There we go. Jeez, I will say those were not super easy, more so just because of positioning. Again, we probably did make it a little hard on ourselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that for a second.
And you'll see we put the steering wheel back on and off because we're trying to...
Yeah, we're just kind of moving some stuff around. I wouldn't really take too much.
Okay, before you lower that whole thing, though, we need to make sure we line that steering up for the nut on the bottom. So we don't do the redneck, put a vice grip on it and ruin the threads.
Yeah, let's definitely do that.
And you'll see what I'm talking about because the instructions don't say that in order, but as we were evaluating,
Yeah,
down here on the bottom,
Yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
driver's side,
point it out for you.
let's see if I can get under here. Bear with me 1 second here.
Okay, so you can kind of already see the head that's right there. So this is our bolt. I'm going to be covering it just for a second. So my middle finger is on it right now, is on the head, and the actual nut is on my thumb under here, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to turn the steering so that this lower, geez, what is it called? The lower extension piece that's in
Oh,
here.
it's out there.
Yeah, lower shaft, thank you, is going to be exposed in this little divot that's right here so that we can pull it out. So real quick, we're going to turn the wheel. If you just want to stay here, Dad, and let me know when it's good.
Absolutely. So hang on here. I'm going to, again, go from the, you can see from the tire side, go to kind of where Nathan's position was, and I'm going to get my camera in there. And you can see the shaft is right here. And just follow it down to where you see the nut. Go ahead and turn that in just so we can see the nut right there.
Yeah, right in there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
That's a perfect angle. See that?
Okay, so there's the head right there,
see
right?
it moving there. There you go, right there. That's perfect.
Are we going to remove the head, or we're going to probably want to remove the other end, right?
Yeah, so I kind of want to get to both. So
yeah,
that's perfect right there.
So we'll call that one good. So now you can see the nut that we're going to be removing. But yeah, so we just wanted to position that before we move out this other stuff, okay?
So let's go ahead and take that off while the steering wheel is there, Nathan. And then we can finish disassembling the top.
Okay. His dad has this 2-foot extension right here, all right? So we got this all the way down. It's on a swivel head, and then it's down onto the top of the bolt, okay? The other end of the ratchet is still on the rear end, so he's going to go down there and hold that while I'm going to be loosening this, okay? So we're just going to make sure that we're in off over here, and we'll go ahead and start taking this off, all right?
And again, that's those extensions you need, as well as look at the leverage on the, we have a long 3/8.
Yes. So, yeah, I will definitely say prior to starting this video right here, we did break this because I didn't want to, if something bad did happen, we weren't going to put that in the video, obviously, if I broke this sucker. Well, I wouldn't have wanted to put me shattering something in here on there. But anyway, so we wanted to make sure that we could break it, though. You're not just watching me over here struggling.
For those of you watching, why do I have snap-on tools? Because this kid here can break any tool. That's why. I mean, literally break a tool.
Yeah, I mean, I broke 2 of his snap-on tools already that he was like, oh, you can't break these. They got broke.
That I've never had an issue with.
Yeah.
So, now I'm going to go back down here, go back to my ratchet. Nathan's going to turn that. I'm going to hold this. And I'm just came off.
No, you're good. You're close.
There we go.
Okay. You good?
Yep, we're good.
All right, so we're just going to go ahead and start loosening this up.
And now he's just loosening, but it was a pretty good break before.
Yeah, I did definitely have to put, like I said, I thought I was going to bend this thing to the point of no return.
Yeah, some of these videos, the thing we don't like on some of the YouTube videos, it's like, okay, all you do is take this nut off and swap it out real quick, but this was very difficult.
Not as easy as you might think. So I'm just going to go ahead and swap this using a hand ratchet just over to the mechanical one. That way I can get this done a little quicker now that everything's nice and loose.
There you go.
And there we are. Hold on real quick, Dad. I'm going to reach in here and grab this. All right.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is turn that toward me so we can grab it. Okay, and again, there is no easy way to get to this spot here, but what I'm doing is I'm getting he is going to ratchet out. It's a 15. You can kind of see where the screwdriver's at here. I'm going to push on that nut, and he's going to just ratchet out. Okay, stop. Now we're going to kind of grab it, I think.
Okay, are you flush on your end?
Yep.
Okay, let me just see if I can get this back on. There we go. Now go from this end, Ed. Now from the head.
Let's see if I can get to the head there.
If you can't yeah, that works. Just make sure you're not on the threads.
Okay. All right, so we had a little hand ratchet in here, just trying to take that bolt out. Now, one of the things we try to show you guys are the things that I need, as well. I don't like to see the perfect video where everything goes well.
Go ahead and give me some pushback with that screwdriver again, if you can.
Let's see here.
Not on that. There we go. Yeah, on the actual bolt.
I can't get to the bolt.
Okay, come in from the other side. This side near me, closest.
Oh, I see it. Yep. So we try to show you guys everything that you're going to go through versus, hey, we took all 30 seconds to do it.
There it is.
There we go.
All right, so as you guys can see, let's see what our nut looks like. Ooh.
We damaged your thread?
Might have got some thread damage here.
Oh, that's for
See that?
the gears holding on anyway.
But otherwise, it looks to be okay. Yeah, I mean, that definitely wasn't easy. So it took some, as you can see, it took a lot of extra effort.
Yes, and so we're going to do, again, this is going to be part 1 is the disassembly, and then we'll do part 2 as the reassembly. So let's keep going. As you look at that bolt there, you can see that it's cross-threaded. It was cross-threaded from the factory because we just took it off. We did not thread it on. So again, the hardware, it comes with new hardware, so hopefully we don't have to reuse that. So we're gonna have to go and purchase a new bolt. Okay, so we've taken the steering wheel off, and now you're taking the what off, Nathan?
This is the tilt assembly. Again, it does say in the instructions to have removed both these nuts that we did earlier, or large bolts. I haven't done that yet just because I don't want all this to be just moving around, okay? They are loosened. There's only one bolt in there right now, though later on we can move it. That's just something to be aware of. If you do remove those already, it will be shaking around.
As well as you won't be able to turn it like we did to get our nut adjusted on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a 10 on this side. I don't know what size the Allen is. I'll tell you after I've taken it out. Okay, so that's apparently a little tighter than it wants. There we go. Oh, back this thing out real quick. Okay, so we got that one out. I'm going to just set that in the cup holder for now. And then...
Now that is a little hydraulic pressure, so it may expand.
No, it's all good. We'll just leave that right there for now. So let me see what size this is real quick that I can tell y'all. So that's a 4, okay? So that's a 4 on the Allen.
So let me ask you this, Nathan. Does it say to remove this side as well?
No, it specifically says this one right here. The reason being is all this is still staying together. We just need to move this stuff out of the way so we can take this off right here in the rear end. See that?
Oh, that's the shaft right there.
Yep, so that's our upper shaft. All right, so I took out my last nut right here.
Which those were
sitting right in here.
Those were the two that we loosened earlier.
Yep. And we just hadn't removed them yet because we were going to be working around some stuff. But, so now that I've removed this bottom part of my tilt assembly, this is what we're able to do, okay? So you can pull out entirely. So just pull, give a nice, even, straight out.
Pull towards you.
See this little ridge right here?
Well, get my
you got a good view of that?
Oh, yes,
Let me get my leg out of the way. So this ridge right here was set in this, okay?
So it kind of sits on top.
Right. So the tilt having been removed, let's go ahead and angle that back up for now. The tilt having been removed now allows this bottom piece to slide so that way you can pull all this out, okay? And then this has all of our shafts and whatnot attached to it. We just didn't want that in the way. Okay, so again, this is not next on the steps, all right? This is just, we're kind of making it easy to work around, all right? Because the next thing we're going to have to do is mess around with the brake pedal, all right? Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to work underneath all this stuff. So getting some stuff out of the way in the meantime will give you a lot more headroom and just make things easier, all right? So the way it works is right here, this is what fell out. I don't know if you noticed that last time. So this fell out. It's just a little spacer, okay? So we're just going to sit that right here for the time being. And then next, I'm going to just kind of reposition myself a little bit. I'm going to pull down on this hydraulic piece for the tilt bit. And then now I'm going to just kind of angle this down so that in the rear end, I can bend this up. It makes it easy because then all I got to do is pull right out. All right, so now I've got the whole steering, basically tilt piece, as well as like the steering wheel mount, or well, gauge mount piece that's up there. And then on the back end, you've got another spacer on your steering.
Are those spacers identical?
That's what I'm doing. So notice they are not identical, all right? This smaller one was on the rear end. Rear end meaning closest to the firewall in the RZR, all right?
So
the thick one,
the other way there.
Right, the thick one was the one that was closest to the steering wheel end, okay? So the way it would go when we go back on is the small one goes back down. Then we would reattach all this right here, guiding the shaft back through the steering wheel piece right here near my pinky. And then you would place this spacer right here.
Okay, good to note that they are different sizes. Okay, cool.
Okay, and now from there, we're just going to go ahead and move this out of the way. That way we can so what we did, we honestly didn't think this was about to be as easy as it was, in all honesty. Normally, we will record it, obviously. We wanted to just kind of break it, see if we could get it off, and that way we could actually show the removal process. But, Dad, go ahead and let me know when you've got a good view of it.
Got a good view.
Okay,
now,
so
that
what
was fully seated, just so you know.
Right, yeah. What he did was he had a little pry bar and just kind of like opened up this area. And when I pull this out, I'll show you the exact area that he did it in because it'll be easier to see in my hand, all right? And then from there, he saw that it was a little loose, and he was like, give it a good tug. And I literally I grabbed it like this right here. So I just grabbed it, and I just yanked it right towards myself. And it came right through the firewall, and this is what it looks like when you do it. It just came out exactly like this. Really easy. I was really surprised, okay? So it brought this with it.
And I didn't open that, Nathan.
Oh, you didn't?
No, what I did, here, go this way. So it's actually like that. And then all I did was I did this. And when you gave it a tug, I just gave it a little push, popped right out.
Yeah. So, I mean, we would have loved to have had that one on video.
It was kind of like the steering wheel.
But it was extremely easy So that was really, really nice because taking that bolt out, I'm not going to lie, was a pain in our butt.
Cool. So, and as you can see, we're both same year, pretty new machines. You can see there's not a whole lot of rust on that thing. So that I'm sure that helped too. If you're having a hard time, maybe spray a little PB blaster on it or something. But good. I like it when things work easy.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now we're in the footwell here, and brake pedals. You can see where Nathan's foot's at for the brake pedal and gas pedal. There are four nuts here. Let me see if I can get here where you can demonstrate that.
You're going to be blocking the light.
Oh, you can see right there. You're good.
You got that? Okay.
So you got those which four nuts, Nathan? Just kind of
So
point
it's
them out
going to
there.
be 1, 2, 3, 4.
So you're going to take the nuts off.
Yep, and so this is a size 13, all right? I'm using a 6-inch extension in here, just honestly, so I don't have to really bend over all that much. I'm going to be honest. All right, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can do this. All right, so there's one. And these are studded, so that's nice. We don't have to do anything on the rear end.
Sorry about the volume there.
We'll leave that there. It'll be all right. All right, now real quick note. I think you guys might have noticed that, but when I was undoing these, this started to move, okay? So I had my foot under here, under the pedal, and that's kind of what caught it. So I would definitely, that was not on purpose, that was an accident, but I would recommend, if I was to do this again, making sure that you have something under here, that way it doesn't just like start falling on you and you don't really know, okay? All right, so that is now it for the full disassembly process, okay? If you are replacing a power steering unit, there will be some more steps. We are not replacing one at this time, so we don't have those steps to demonstrate. However, in the instructions, it does show you exactly what wires you need to disconnect, okay? So just make sure you pay careful attention to that. But in our case, what we did was we went ahead and first removed all of our plastic covering, right? So we got our hood, we got our dash covering. I had to remove my windshield and all that kind of stuff so that we could pull it out. And then from there, we went in and we removed our gauge cluster. Again, making sure that we moved the wires correctly, okay? Removed the gauge cluster, did have to loosen this up so we could wiggle it out. Then from there, we went ahead and we started loosening up our steering wheel. We started pulling out the tilt column assembly. We pulled out those the pedal bolts. And then we also did have to obviously remove our entire steering shafts right here, right? Okay, so we pulled all those out. Notice we didn't do them exactly in order. I just kind of went through, and we also didn't do them in the exact order that the instructions say. So just make sure that you kind of mess around with it, see what might work for you. Okay, so just because the instructions do say it one way, read through them, see, because that's what we did. Is there would have been things that would have been in our way while we were working. So that's kind of the reason we did it in that order.
Awesome, Nathan. Okay, guys, so that's part one of a two-part system. So we don't want to bore you with like a 3-hour video. So that's part one. Stay tuned for part two.